There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, crap. I forgot I was recording audio for some projects earlier this week, so my mic level just got readjusted. Oh, hello, camera. Stay right here. Stay right there. Oh, nope. That's a little too far over. Let's stay right there. Yeah. Cool. Cool things. Let's turn down the desktop audio a little bit there. I'm a little disheveled today. Hello, hello, hello. Why is my keyboard all everywhere except where I want it to be? It's everywhere. This is a groovy track. Loving that like little backbeat rhythm type thing. Awesome. I need to... Sorry, just taking care of a couple things here. Here we go. Cool. Cool beans. We're gonna full screen that actually. Getting my tabs opened up here. Apologies. Why do I have poor quality? One second. Awesome. Sorry about that. Oh. I have it pulled up on my second monitor here. Just monitoring things. I have like a poor, unstable connection right now with the stream. So, well, don't know what that's all about. We'll see. We'll see how it is. Just want to change just a couple things here. Admittedly, I should have done a little bit of this before pressing the go live button, but you do what you do, and yeah. Let's fade out. Let's make it like 120 seconds. I don't want that Discord link being popped in there the entire time, even though it would be nice to do that. All right. I feel like I haven't done a formal introduction. Hello everybody. Stream's a little late today. Sorry about that. My name is Keegan Richard. I am a composer for film and video games. Today we're going to be focusing mostly on the video game side of this. And yeah, this is my composing live stream that I try to do twice a week. The schedule's a little up in the air right now. Last week I didn't stream, unfortunately so. I was a little busy and got caught up in some things. But that is okay. That is okay. Okay, that disappeared. Good. We're gonna move this guy because we're gonna just do that. Cool. I didn't anticipate wearing a light sweater today. But yeah. So I compose music for the video games and things and stuff and things. That looks like it's a little too far up here. Today gonna be a super chill day. Well, I want to talk about some things first that I think are pretty cool and nifty and stuff and things. And then we're gonna get back into some composing, and then we'll kind of see where it's going there. I had some slides prepared for today in anticipation of that. I just want to get it. I'm so disorganized today. It's egregious. What's up? Oh, hey, how's it going? Hey, dude, wish you could stay and hang out, but I got to crash for work tomorrow, but I wanted to pop and say hi. You're always welcome here. I do appreciate that. You have a wonderful evening. I know your work is really hard in, so, sleep tight, my dude. Appreciate you making it out here. We're gonna just chat and things. I've been saying and things a lot. You can tell I'm discombobulated in that capacity. Later. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Or maybe they should. I don't know. I want to know how egregious a bed bug catastrophe had to be in order for that expression to I shouldn't say that. We actually we do currently have a pretty decent one going on right now. But yeah, no, streaming schedule has been a little chaotic as of late. Apologies. It's probably going to get a little bit more hectic as the next couple of weeks go on, in that it's kind of going to be erratic. I've originally established that my schedule is going to be like Monday and Thursday just because it worked well with what I had going in other spots with that. For the next week or so, I have some free time, but also not some free time, so it might be a little bit more sporadic. I'll still try to make it a consistent time in the day. I do like the evening times, mostly because I get blinded in the afternoon by the sunset coming through here, and that's not fun. Not fun looking at a computer and being blind. Not to mention it's been incredibly hot and ridiculous the past couple days here in sunny Los Angeles. All right. With that, get settled here. I may this week do like a three times this week, or like 3 times this week, 4 times this week stream. I did create a Discord last week in my free time just because I feel guilty about posting that I'm live in places, even though I shouldn't feel guilty. But I'll be spamming that Discord. I think I attached it to the stream description below, and I also wrote it in chat a while ago. Let me actually go ahead and just pin that while I'm at it. It's nothing fancy as of yet. Again, I just created it on the fly, but that way I can spam my live things, and we can do some fun things with community-related composing things in the future. Have a couple cool ideas that I think will be cool, including a composing jam potentially. A couple of people do those, but I don't see a whole lot of it. And I think it'll be really cool to do kind of like a collaborative like low effort kind of just like concept album for like games and stuff like that. Stick within like a specific niche genre, and then put together just like a fun little royalty-free one, just to do the things with. All right. So, with that being said, who the hell is? Let me just go ahead and silence my notifications here real quick. All right. I'm like so nervous to switch screens here. Awesome. Cool. All right. So, Pardon me while I had to burp. So today we're going to be writing some music for Trek. Oh wait, no. We're gonna. Yippee! Animations. What is Trek? Well, that Trek is going to be a AAA-esque cinematic action adventure video game pack. Let me remove my webcam temporarily so you can see. Action adventure video game music pack that I'm putting together, inspired by some of these franchises and IPs: Uncharted, Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, National Treasure 2, a little bit of that. Anything in the adventure, campy genre scope and things. So we're going to be working on those stuff and things later today. But first, we're going to talk about some game music. We're going to talk about some cool things related to it and how to implement that into your composing. Or at least how I like to. And there's some people talking about it, and it's kind of a little bit scatterbrained. We're going to be doing a couple of these at the start of streams from now on just because I think they're fun and it kind of gets me into the groove of things. But yeah. We're going to talk some game music, and we're going to do an exploration track, or we're going to finish the one that we started. Let me bring back my camera there. We started it 2 weeks ago, Thursday. Have not touched it yet. I was busy with another project all of last week, and getting in the groove of things with that. So yeah, today we're going to dive into that. If I have creative intent later, we'll see. And then we're going to... In that, we're going to finish writing up a B section, fix up some ideas that we wrote in the previous stream, and just render and disable R&D, just because I am streaming and some of those tracks, I do not want to kill my CPU. I don't have there are better ways to optimize it. I just haven't gotten around to taking the time to do such. So, we make do with what we do. And then I think I'm too ambitious for hanging at the end there, just because time tends to escape me when it does. Oh, and then of course, doing some breathing and talking in between. That's usually a good idea. Some good advice for life in general. You should breathe and talk and socialize and do things. All right. Let's switch back over to here while I get my talking slides up. Literally took me the longest time to do this week because I wanted to figure out exactly what I wanted to talk about. I had this really bad, I've brought it up in conversation before, and people call it a type of imposter syndrome, but it's not exactly imposter syndrome. I don't know. But I feel like I can't really talk from a point of credibility on a subject, because I'm not decades long experienced in it. But I have to keep reminding myself that it's cool just to talk about things, especially ones that as proof of concepts, especially when it comes to adaptive and dynamic game design and music implementation systems, just because not a lot of people do it, or if they do it and not conversationally. They do it very informatively, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I do think there's a value in kind of just removing the sorry, we're getting a little bit of feedback here. I do believe there's a little bit of value in kind of just breaking it down for the layman's terms. So what are we going to talk about today? Let's go ahead and mute some of this music here, and then we'll close out of that guy. Bam. Bam. Chicka bam. Kawazam. Got that up. Let's do that. And then we will close that guy. That guy. So, today we're going to talk about a little bit about instrumentation in games and how you can get incredibly specific with your intent behind picking a certain type of instrument or instrumentation to come across a narrative device or a proof of concept in your story. It's incredibly effective choosing the right instrument. And sometimes, especially myself, sometimes it can get incredibly complicated complicated and convoluted with your ideas, especially if you're like a developing composer. You have a lot of these impressive industry titans and voices that are writing left and right, left and right, left and right. And if you want to like be great, you like mimic and you take inspiration from. And some of their ideas are incredibly complex and convoluted, which is insane and genius. But like they've spent how many years developing certain skills to get to a point where they can kind of be bombastic and know just tastefully what the right amount of this technique or this type of complex harmony is going to develop. And so one of those is, I think, is just instrumentation. It kind of seems like it's a null and easy one, but we're going to take some time today and appreciate just some specific intent some composers have done to convey certain narrative devices and help support the overall story. Before diving into it, the angle that I'm going to be going in with it is going to be one that is more directed for story-driven games, ones that flow similar to a more movie cinematic, kind of like a walk-through single-player-esque vibe. This can be done effectively for other types of games, but the angle that I'm going to be coming at is going to be specifically for those type of games. So just want to put that little disclaimer ahead of it before I get people yelling at me. And if they do, that's okay. After all, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, just kidding. So yeah, how instrumentation can help digest your game. And we have a couple examples here. I will be linking some examples, of course, as well. Oh, I should actually pull that up real quick before I forget. Because we're going to be listening to some things, but like, please stream it. Give these people a little bit of money. They deserve it. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Cool. I think that. Yeah, I don't think we're listening to anything else today. I have a document with a whole bunch of links. I gotta change the date on that. Let's do that real quick. Why am I burping so much? Okay. Where'd my QuickTime folder go? Cool. Cool. Desktop audio is good. I think we'll have that one open just in case. I don't know exactly which one my QuickTime is routed to. I could pull that up real quick. I don't think I am. I never checked, actually. Give me 1 second here. Oh, wait, no, I did. I did have audio running. Okay. Oh. Ugh. My feet is a little bit crappy today. Alright, we might not go as far in depth today as we had planned if my stream quality is going to be iffy. Alright, cool. So, in most instances, using the right instrument can accomplish a couple things simultaneously. It can ground the narrative in relation to humans or human history. So what I mean by that is a lot of times what attaches a nostalgic feeling or a sense of connection with a piece of art is going to be how we relate that, whatever it is, art, image, music, how we relate that to our own personal life experiences that we've lived through. And we pulled that from the various years of experience that we've developed into, humans. So ultimately, if you can't somehow relate it to a general... Do you mind? My cat's playing with a toy here. If you can't relate it back to the human experience, then you're not gonna... You can connect with people, but it's not gonna... You're not gonna accomplish, like... You're not going to connect with your story, because ultimately what we're doing is supporting some form of a storytelling or some overall arcing idea or concept. And we want to do our best to support that as that relates and interacts with our like experience playing it. So choosing the right instrument can like hack through anything and kind of just connect with you on some level. You can also implicitly communicate like character growth. We're going to talk a little bit about leitmotifs. You probably, if you're a composer, you know that, and you can probably skip through that. We'll talk a little about that, and how that relates to specific instrumentation, not just melodic, harmonic, or rhythmic development. It's really, really, really cool techniques in there. But then ultimately, it kind of can prepare you and transition you into the different mechanics or any change in gameplay that the player is going to experience. And instead of it being like a jarry, like swipe screen or, just like stinger and then bam, it's, although sometimes there are stingers, there's more subtle ways that it can kind of migrate you into a combat phase, or if it's a stealth phase in like some Metal Gear Solid-esque type fashion, or even if it's like subtle ambience in like a cozy walkthrough simulator type game. There's a lot of creative decisions that you can do and play with to kind of replicate that experience and communicate that to the player. So first off, how do we create an environment using instruments? So I'm going to play a couple examples, and I'm going to want some y'all in chat to just come up with some descriptors or maybe some images that you might accomplish with, or you might come across with those just write some descriptions, some images of some scenes that this music is like conveying to you. And then you, if you're watching a VOD, feel free to play this game as well. We're going to be going through here. I'm going to play short clips. If you know what game this is from, shut up. All right. We got number 1 right here. So that right there is very cyberpunky, very like fusiony. Especially if you said those words, you would be correct in conveying that. It's very electronic-y, finicky, poppy, bubbly, kind of quirky too. That of course was from the game Stray, that hit game right there, which a lot of those descriptors that we talked about are reflected in these scenes right here. It's actually I think from one of these scenes that music plays. Thought that was a good clip that encapsulated. That cue is called Roberto is Out by the composer Jan van der Kruisen. I think that's how you say that. I believe they're some form of German, maybe. I don't know. Sorry. All right, let's go on to number 2. All right, and then we're going for descriptors and images here. I'll wait a little bit afterwards to let you get some time to guess. All right. If you're playing on the VOD, I'll give you some time to pause. We're looking for descriptive words. Maybe an image, colors, anything our senses are telling us, our ears, maybe our eyes, if you have some form of synesthesia. All right. So if you said any words that were along the lines of like luscious, very like blues, purples, very fantasy, twinkly, kind of just mystical and magical, that's kind of the vibe that's going for, and it's more obviously conveyed in that. That, of course, is from Ori and the Blind Forest by wonderful composer Gareth Coker. That's the cue titled Calling Out. I will link these at the end of this little presentation here. And then number 3 is a recent personal favorite of mine. Let's see if you have a guess of this. All right, we'll do it one more time. Pause now if you want to take some time to guess. Looking for descriptive words, maybe a scene, images, colors. Cool. That is a recent game of mine that I've come to enjoy. Originally, I saw a lot of people hate it, but that is, of course, Arctic Awakening. I think it's the reviews of it have increased since its original release. Maybe there were some bugs or something like that. But I personally enjoyed the story playing it. And that was the main theme by a wonderful composer, Joff Winks. So check him out. Stream that entire album. We're actually going to be diving into that one in this next point here. But before I leave the slide, just going back, looking at these photos and just little images of the game, like you have very mountainous little, very sounding, like folk sounding instruments that contribute to this imagery of being in the mountains, being snow-covered mountains, maybe like warm colors of cool and like warm tones that contrast each other in this type of art style. But then going back to Ori and the Blind Forest, even just looking at this like little splash poster right here, you have literally these twinkling stars emanating from the forest. We have Stray, just the cyberpunky kind of robotic electronic, and then we also have a cat there. You might invoke some of those images. But we're going to dive into Arctic Awakening with this next one, mostly because Joff Winks actually has gone on record a couple times talking about this exact same thing that we're talking about today, and utilizing specific instrumentation to convey this kind of imagery off the fact. So I'm calling it this mountainy wilderness wonder type sound that he captures. It's obviously trademarked, so yeah, don't use that term unless you want to pay me. Just kidding. But yeah, Joff, he uses in like intentional palette to throughout the score to invoke that type of imagery that achieves that mountainy wilderness wonder. In this game, it's along the same lines as Firewatch. If any of you have played that, it's very much like a cool, warm, cozy kind of, almost like a therapeutic discovery and just like an emotional journey that you go through with some plot in the background that you're playing. I think Steam categorizes these, or the culture categorizes this as like a walkthrough simulator, where basically the gameplay mechanics, you maybe have a couple things here and there, but ultimately they spend a lot of time and time and craft into developing a story, so much so that this game plays out episodically, much like a lot of those narrative driven plots before. Very fun game. It's a quick game too, so if you have like a weekend or something and looking for that cozy vibe, highly recommend it. But this mountainy wilderness wonder, how do we digest that sound? I'm going to play the clip again to maybe pay attention to the specific instrumentation that you are hearing in that. Beautiful, luscious folk instrumentation, that's for starters. We hear a lot of plucked kind of stringed instruments, guitars, and guitar-like instruments. Let's dive into exactly what he's using across the score, and then I got another score example from him as well. The charango. So he's using this really cool instrument from the Andes. It's Andean, so it's a little bit of Chilean, Peruvian, and a little bit of Argentinian. It's similar to a ronroco, famously used by Gustavo Santaolalla. And it's a South American, just like gorgeous, kind of pingy, mandolin-like small guitar. I think I have a photo of it here. Yeah, this guy. I want one so badly. But already using an instrument native to a civilization and culture that developed in a similar mountainous type of a high altitude region, it effectively captures kind of like that sound that we are catering to. And even without any game backsplash, you may be picturing a sort of like folk, outdoorsy wilderness type of vibe. Other ones include mando guitar, some lap steel, pedal steel to get some of those guitar effects, a lot of guitars, electric guitars. And we also have some synths and other electronic textures that is going to tie more into the sci-fi mechanics of the game. The game takes place like in a future, a dystopian type future. I think 2062, not too dystopian, just like, a little bit more technologically progressed than we are in current day. So that's where a lot of those synths and other tension electronic textures really poke through for the score. But when he's capturing, Joff is capturing this immaculate kind of ambience and environment. He's using a lot of these guitar-like and folk instruments to kind of create that palette, especially with like the mando guitar, bringing in some ideas of Appalachia and whatnot. Which brings us into, actually, I had another cue, so let me go back here. We have another cue here too, where you can demonstrate some of those. This one's a little bit more. Gorgeous music, gorgeous music. Definitely recommend checking out that entire soundtrack if you guys get the chance. So with that, we're going to pivot into the next point, which is how do you create a relationship between a character and an instrument? This is going to tie into our leitmotif device. Famously, leitmotifs, for anyone who is not composer related or had any form of like musical training or study, leitmotifs are going to be some form of a musical device phrase, usually tied to in the context of a story, an overarching story. It's going to be tied to a character, an idea, or a place within the plot that you're grounded in. Typically, conventionally, if you're being like specifics and if you're being pedantic, that's going to stay within like a melodic or rhythmic musical device. But oftentimes you can pair that with instrumentation and like orchestration. Specifically, like the timbre of different instruments can translate a lot of the sonic and narrative information to the viewer that just helps ease in the audience into understanding like the simplest of plots to the most convoluted of plots. A famous example is Star Wars. John Williams utilizes so many leitmotifs. And so that's why we have a little bit of Binary Sunset over here. The Force theme, the Star Wars main theme, the Imperial March is used motivically throughout the score, like so much. And that traces back all the way to Wagner, who use it like crazy. So conveniently so, since we are playing Uncharted, or not playing Uncharted, we are rescoring Uncharted. We're going to take a look at the Uncharted score, different section of that. This cue titled The Lure of Adventure, and we're kind of going to break down this motif from the game that is used. Music is composed by Henry Jackman, of course. Has crazy credits, some really good movies. So yeah, let's have a listen to that here. And then we have a little bit of a roll going on at the end there, just creeping in. Can't play too much of these just because I don't want to get content ID'd as much. I'm trying to use this strictly as educational as possible. So what's exactly happening? What are we listening to? So we have a lot of non-Western flutes. Now, when I say that, a lot of people use the term ethnic to describe something that isn't Western, so we're just going to use non-Western. But yeah, no, it's close-ish types timbres of sound that we're catching on to. It sounds a little foreign, sounds a little out of place and cool and exotic in a way. Not the greatest word, but we're going to use that. And the fact that it's a flute, for me personally, this is all subjective, of course, but I think it's a pretty accurate to the tone there. It sounds, flutes tend to have a little bit more like a human-like quality, just the nature of woodwinds in general. It's a very breathy kind of, sounds ancient. It's like a mix of like human civilization history meets like the crazy intensity of time, and just that combination is what I feel like is captured accurately in a lot of like non-Western flute soloistic devices, like when using it in movie scores and game scores and whatnot. So that's kind of our principal instrument. Then we also have like a little like high pinging whistle that's ambient. It's super reverbed out in the background. It's almost like someone's whistling at you and just like telling you to come over here. And then, but you pair that with, in the theory of it, some atypical intervallic leaps. So it catches interest because it's not standard, it's not conventional, it's not our perfect fifths and whatnot. Let me actually pull up Keyscape real quick so I can. Actually, I don't think I have the audio right there. Anyway, we have that tritone motif, and then it goes down. I think I have it queued here. Yeah. So let's go back and see if we can actually play that. Okay, that's there. And then there's like an ambient flute happening right here. And then I cut the clip there, but it goes on to repeat itself just with extra string layers and some more harmonic devices to kind of give it a little bit more context. But even right there, that just device and how it's orchestrated, especially with the ambient whistle, it just sounds quite literally what the cue is called, which is the lure of adventure. It sounds like it's calling our protagonist to something bigger and more seductive than what the status quo of our environment is. So yeah. But more importantly, that whole device is then used throughout the context of the game whenever we have a little bit of ambience that we're kind of in a safe environment. That little flute motif. Whenever we're exploring and we're in a safe environment without any enemies or anything like that, but we're trying to invoke the player to like be curious about their environment and check this crevice in hopes that it's like progressing us further in the story towards this like treasure that we're hunting. It's used in puzzles and any cutscene that is relating to that device of the treasure, that whole lure of adventure, quite aptly titled. That whole concept, that type of orchestration and that type of flute is playing in that ambience. Now, that's not necessarily like intentional in the game design where it's like, you know, like, hey, we have this one titled for this cue. And like, you know, at this point in the story, it plays there because Naughty Dog and Sony PlayStation, their music team, they developed like a whole different like music. They developed their own music system for this game that's very complex and convoluted. There's a whole masterclass by the director of Sony's music team at the time on that on YouTube. I think I can find the link somewhere for it, but really, really interesting. And I'll be concept for one of these days to talk about because I find it so fascinating. But yeah, adding that type of unique identifier gives so much like subliminal context over the course of playing your game, and especially in this game, which is like hours on end, your player becomes way familiar with it. So that later in the game, when we have intense story and narrative devices, we can recontextualize that device and maybe reorchestrate it in some different elements, or maybe fragment it, invert it, and maybe just play around with it, but like keep it close enough to what we've been used to and been accustomed to that we can kind of like subtly recognize that, hey, this is relating to that, but the stakes have changed, our character has changed, we have progressed way further into the story. So I'm going to play two more cues from that game that kind of convey that. These two cues occur towards the end of the game typically. However, they are scattered here and there just based on their music system here. So the first one we're looking at is Brother's Keeper. Now, if you haven't played this game, I'm not going to provide any context to it. Just know that this is more a tone to one of the how this hunt for treasure directly affects interpersonal relationships within the context of the game. So this is more a familial relationship type thing, hence the Brother's Keeper. So we'll play that real quick. So even right there, it didn't sound like it was the same motif, but it was the same type of flute instrumentation. It just played a different melodic idea. However, in a similar kind of orchestration environment, maybe some added tremolo strings and some added like ambient pads underneath to increase the tension, because the stakes have changed much at this point in the game than it did earlier. So even just like kind of just playing one note on that flute in a similar style and adding some orchestral background to it can just dramatically tell that, like, hey, same thing as before, except way tenser, and there's a little bit more at stake. This next one we have is going to be Meet Me in Paradise off of the album titled there. It's some point later. This is going to be different orchestration and slightly different melody, but similar contour, with the leaps that are going to be followed with like different harmony. I think it's a string unison with maybe some added like layers to it. It's hard to tell because the quality of the recording is incredibly compressed, for me in my ears anyway. And also I was taking a listen to this earlier, but I'm sure there's some added elements to it. But it's just beautiful writing, and it's such a pulling at your heartstrings like melody, not in like a romantic sad kind of way, but just in a like a lamentful and like epic type of way. So yeah, let's just take a look at that. Watch your ears. Yeah, and then we have that right there. All in all, it's just this is just another angle to kind of look at some of the music of some of the games that you absolutely love and adore. Just kind of dissecting, like, you know, in the moment to moment minutia of the game, just sitting back, listening to what you're hearing, and just like asking yourself the questions, just like, okay, what's happening? How is this like music connecting with what's happening? How does it make me feel? And then like if I go around and move around, how does this kind of develop it? All of those like little things that you do with your favorite soundtracks, they can go towards effectively they go towards creating an effective story-based driven score. I know this wasn't the most well articulated presentation or talk about it. But if you have a score, I challenge you this week or something like that to just listen to it in your off time. Maybe you're in the car going to work or something like that. Or maybe you just have like 5 minutes at home. Kind of just listen out for anything that repeats thematically, melodically, motivically, maybe, and just pay attention to see if it's a specific instrumentation or orchestration every single time. And maybe if you have time to replay the game, or go to a part in the game where that song is playing, give it context, see what's happening, and then how it's effectively communicating with that. Because I think if we understand more of what like are tried and true games that everyone in the community loves and adores for its connection of music to gameplay mechanics, the more we understand how they function together, the better our own writing can be, and the type of questions that we are, because, you know, it's cool. Game music is fun. So yeah, that was talking time. Talkie time. Let's go back to this cam over here. Let me link some things and then get out of this slide here. Let's lower the volume there and bring back maybe some music. Cool. Getting back my OBS. I don't know why it's. I hate that my little YouTube stream controller thing is telling me I got poor quality. I gotta go mess around with settings afterwards. Slide links. I'm gonna post the Spotify ones just because I have I pay for premium. I know that's not cool, but you know, it's cool. Let's do that off of YouTube, actually. Give me 1 second here. Let me know if you enjoyed a little bit of that talk. And maybe if I should do some more of those, or maybe I should, you know, get better at speaking. Maybe that's the play here. That's one. That first one is Stray. No, that's the wrong one. Dude, Arctic Awakening was like actually such a fun game to play. I wasn't expecting it going into it. Like I was just like, hey, I want to play a new type of game. I kind of just want to go into it without any context, and I was surprisingly entertained. And addicted to it for a short period of time. Admittedly, at no fault to the score, I think it was just like the narrative of it. It's like episodic, and I don't want to give spoilers away, so I'm going to keep it light, but I'll open up what our project that we're working on today while I'm at it. The episodes as they progress, just they felt rushed from a story perspective. I feel like they had an idea of where they wanted to take the story, and they spent a lot of time invested on like setting in a lot of like roots so that they can kind of toy and develop it. And I think they like, if it was like a curve, I think it spiked incredibly, and then it kind of just like slowly plateaued out, and then there was a huge dip in like the last episode that they had. Just because they were like so close to arrive to it, but they, of course, couldn't like extend it for another episode or something like that, and they just went with it. Where is my? Oh, it's in this. Pulling together the project. Sorry, guys. Sorry. What are we working on? Are we working on this? When was the last time I streamed? I think that was it, actually. We'll see. I'll see. Do I have a new window open? Yeah, I do. Cool. If I didn't mention it before, I created a Discord so I can spam when I do these live things if you're interested. So go check that out. I have it pinned in the chat if you're watching on... Yeah. Cool. All right. Let me just see if this is it. Yeah, it is. Okay. Cool. Bye-bye game music. You've been really fun. Let's do that. Let's switch over. Cool. So I can be live for almost an hour. Cool. What is this color coding, dude? Which keyboard is connected? Is this one at the top? Cool. Cool beans. Cool beans. All right. Let's play, see what we got. I have no recollection of what we did. Some cool harmony things happen. Oh, I have no clue where we were taking that. Cool stuff going. So we have like a little A prime there. Probably want to do a B section of equal length or something like that. I don't know if we should make this. Oh, this is going to be a long song, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But no problem, no problem. Where we ended at? Bum 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 bum. Okay. We got our strings there. Where's our piano? Dun, dun. Oh, okay. Wait. This is coming back to me now. We were doing a little bit of, I think we're doing a common tone modulation there. So we I think we're going to A flat minor or something. G sharp minor. No. Take it down. I'll probably do some minor chromatic medians. So we going for this mysterious vibe, right? Especially with this alto flute, it's kind of a given at this point. I feel like there's too much stuff on my desk. Too much stuff, not enough space. All right. Dun, dun, dun. We're gonna have strings go, maybe low strings. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe. Do we have a... We don't have this country. I just need something a little bit brighter. Just a little bit brighter. Dun, 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 dun. Like that. Just going the boom, 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 boom. Ah, no. I forgot that was still a thing. 2, 3, 4. Do we like them? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What are my things there? What are my concertino? These are just the longs, so it's the too bluesy. Alright, cool. I like how these strings are going to this ascending line. That up. Oh crap! I'm gonna pretend like I didn't do that. So we're gonna add a violin to VC to support it. Oh wait, they can make this such like a lamenting passage. So we want to go like a. Now we're. Did we just modulate to D minor and I didn't even realize? Oh, we kind of did earlier with the. I didn't mean for that. Dun, dun, dun. What do I want? I want this. Where do I want to take this? I think that we want to go up and sneak it in there like that. Potentially. This is becoming... Gotta be like somewhat equal length to what we wrote before, previously. I just don't want it to build too much, because it is supposed to be like a little bit of ambience. And not like a Jeremy Soule type of ambience, which is so beautiful and melodical. If we land sneak on like a D augmented there, it should be kind of the vibe I'm going for. picture of this for whatever reason. No. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where does that augment? Where do you want to go? Okay, maybe we pivot to C minor and back to C minor that way. And this will be a little bit more tamer of a section. We'll change the orchestration slightly. So maybe it'll peak where it previously went. Oh crap, that's weird. I need to be on the grid. What am I doing? Do something like that. Ba 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 ba. I think that should be an E natural, actually. That's unnecessary. Do I have... should layer that with... should layer that with that. Let's go up there, record there. go. Ugh, such a perfectionist. Wrong key. Ah. That should be a longer measure, I think. Right? Something like that. Check. Do that. Redo that. Rewrite that. Delete what is there, and then we'll redo it. sit there and just decay on that. Potentially. My cats, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, why am I doing this? Maybe something like that. What the fuck? What? I know, not a Spotify link. Let's do that. 2. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. About that. I mean, it's here in context. feel like the timpani is round and robining. Because I have it all at a low velocity. I don't know why. That is like side chain. It's like an anti-side chain. Whenever the flute plays, it just gets louder. We can have like a pad go there. I can't with this right now. Oh my goodness. I can't never type. I think that was a good shot today. Hey chat. I am feeling incredibly exhausted tonight. Don't know why, but I might be wrapping this up earlier than I thought, which makes sense because the quality of the stream is a little poor. So yeah, I think we're gonna just call it there. I'm sorry that we didn't do much. But my just energy level just completely crashed. So sorry about that. Yeah. Cool things happened today. We'll probably be streaming a little bit more frequently this week. So stay tuned for that. Feel free to join the Discord that I created if you want to be notified when I go live instead of just randomly popping up in your feed. Would appreciate that. Yeah, the times are going to be crazy different this week just because I have some free time, but might be doing it a little bit earlier in the day just so that I have a little bit more energy. Because I need to go sleep. But yeah, no, appreciate you for watching and taking a listen of the little presentation I put together. Links in description below. Go follow them if you like or not. Whatever floats your goat, floats your boat, floats your goat. And yeah, hope you have a good night. Bye-bye.